today is box and whisker plots. So a box and whisker plot gets its name from the pieces that it has. It has 3 pieces. It has a box. It has 2 whiskers. Whiskers on either side, think like whiskers of the cat, or on either side of its nose. What a box and whisker plot does is it shows how much the data varies along a number line. And we have what's called a 5-number summary that we pull information from. So our 5-number summary includes your least value of your data set, so your smallest value. It also includes your highest or your greatest value. Those 2 are self-explanatory. It also includes our median, and median is the value if you order it from our data points from lowest to highest. It's the point that's in the exact middle. That's our median. And our 2 other numbers, a part of our 5-number summary, are the first quartile and the third quartile. So you think of quarts, or quar, like that starting, that prefix, Q-U-A-R. Think of like you're splitting things into fourths. So like a quarter splits 100 into like 25 cents, or 25 cents in a dollar, or 4 quarts in a gallon. So what the first quartile is it's your first 25% of your data. So that means from your data, from your least value to this first quartile, 25% of your data is in that chunk. Your median, your Q2, that's kind of like your 50% mark. Because 2 quarters make 50 cents, 50, 25 and 25 make 50. So this is like your halfway point. So what this is saying is that half of your data is to the right of this, half of your data is greater than this value, and half of your data is less than this value. And then your third quartile, we jump up by another 25. So your third quartile is like your 75% marker. Where to the left of your third quartile, that's where 75% of your data is. And to the right is where 25% of your data is. So it still adds up to 100. So when we're finding our 5-number summary, we're going to let Desmos do it for us. So how this is going to work is, first we're going to do everything on paper, or at least the typing in part on Desmos. What we're going to type in, we're going to have you write it down on your paper, and then we'll copy that down onto Desmos. So for example 1, we want to make a box and whiskers plot that represents the age of hikers on a backpacking trip. And then we also want to write our 5-number summary. So for this to work on Desmos, we first need to make a list of all of our values. So these are the ages of all 12 people that are on our hiking trip. It ranges from 18 to 30, with some ages repeating. So to make a list on Desmos, you have to write X of 1. So a capital X and a subscript of 1. So just write this on your paper for now, and then we'll copy it onto Desmos. So capital X, subscript 1, and you write that is equal to, and then you're going to put brackets around your data. That makes a list of your values. What Desmos does, it treats this, okay, now we can do a lot of different things now that we have one variable to express it. Nope, just write this on your paper. Just write it on your paper. We're not touching, nobody should be touching their computer yet. We're just writing this down. So think of that as like your first line of code. Your second line of code, what you're going to tell Desmos to do is you're going to write box plot. Everything in lowercase letters with no spaces. So write BOX PLOT box plot. Again, all lowercase, no spaces. And then you put parentheses. Then inside the parentheses, you're going to type in that same capital X with a subscript of 1. And that's going to make a box plot for you. So we're going to take this now, and now we'll use Desmos. So now this is on your paper so you know where it's coming from and kind of the format that should look like each time. So we go over to, what screen I put Desmos on? Here we go. So I would suggest just using your keys on your computer to do this. So you have to type a capital X, so you gotta go Shift X. And it has to be a capital X, or else Desmos won't recognize what you're doing. And then to do a subscript, if you hit the Shift and then your underscore key. So your underscore key is right next to, it's to the left of the plus and equal key on the top, and it's to the right of the 0. And then you type in, once you hit Shift underscore, you should have a little flashing line below your X, and you just type in 1. Nothing else, no spaces or anything. And then what you gotta do is cursor over. I just use my arrow key and tap over 1. So my blinking light is back into the middle. And now I can type my equal sign. And I type in my brackets. So your brackets are on the right-hand side of your keyboard, right next to the P. Desmos closes the brackets for you, and then you just have to type in all the data that you have. And you type in each data value followed by a comma. So to type in the age of the hikers, you would type in 18, comma for your first one. You have to make sure that there's a comma separating each time. So you do 18, comma, and then your next number is 22. So 22, comma. You have another 22, so you gotta do that again. And you just keep typing them all in. So then you do 24. We have 325, so we need it in there 3 times. Then we have 127 and a 28. And then we have a 330s. So we go 30, comma, 30, comma, 30. And if you did it correctly, you should get no error messages. And below it, you should say x of 1 is equal to a 12-element list. That just means you made a list that has 12 things in it. That's what we want. You gotta do that part first. Typing all of in your values. That's right, x. Do capital X. Then go Shift underscore. So you gotta do that button. This one. And then do type in a 1. And then hit your. And then do. Go back, delete 1. And then hit whatever this arrow to get back to the middle. Then do equal. Then make a bracket. And then type in all these. Okay. All right. So once you have this down, next you type in like what I had you write down. You type in box plot. All lowercase letters, no spaces, and then in parentheses, you put in that same X subscript of 1. So again, you have to make sure it's a capital X and it's a subscript of 1 because that's what you named your list. You type in X of 1. Well, it's hard to see the port. Sure. All right. So right now, if you typed in like this and you haven't moved your screen at all, you're not going to see anything. Why you don't see anything is because our values start at 18. So what you have to do is scroll over to where 18 is. Make sure you have both lines typed in. So say you don't have the second line typed in. So that's why you don't see anything. Is everybody else having issues? So now we have all the information that we need to fill in our 5-number summary. We can zoom in and out. We know that our lowest value is 18. So in your chart, under lowest value, you should put in 18. We know that your first quartile number, or your Q1 number, is going to be the left-hand side, the far left-hand side of your box. So that's 23. So beneath your Q1 value, you would put 23. It just follows the top chart, so the top picture on your notes shows where everything is. Your middle value in your box is 25, so for your median, you put 25. Your Q3 value, the right end of your box, you're at 29, so you put in 29. And your highest value is 30, so you put in 30. So now I'm going to take this, I'm going to draw a picture of it on my paper, because that's what you're going to be doing on your homework. You're going to be getting this off of Desmos and drawing a picture of it on your paper. So going back to here. We would have our box and whiskers plot. So that's what your picture would look like, and we're also going to go in and label. So now right here would be 18, your lowest value. Here is 23. Right here is 25. This is 29. And this is 30. And those are the same 5 numbers that go in your 5-number summary. 18, 23, 29. 18, 23, 25, 29, and 30. For your lowest value, your lowest and your highest value you can always get from just looking at your list. What we're really having Desmos do for us is get us the proportions of our box plot and our quartile values. So in context, this is what our box plot is telling us. That we know that 25 is our median. So like I said up at the top, it's kind of our 50% mark. So on this hiking trip, you could say that 50% of the hikers are less than 25 years old, and 50% of the hikers are older than 25 years old. We also say that 25% of the hikers are between the ages of 18 and 23. 25% of the hikers are between 29 and 30. Also say that like 50% of hikers are between 29 and 23. One thing I want to add to your notes is range, and then what we call interquartile range, or IQR. So you want to add those just right next to your box. So range and then enter quartile range. So remember, this normal range is kind of your difference between your highest and your lowest. So our highest value is 30 and our lowest value is 18. So to find the range, we do 30 minus 18. That would give you 12. The interquartile range is your range that's in your quartile. Think inter means like between. Interquartile means between quartiles. So an interquartile range is always the same. You take your Q3 value minus your Q1 value. So this would be 29 minus 23, which is equal to 6. All right, here's your next step of instructions. The second problem, number 2 on here, second example, you are going to do on your own. Once you have it done, call me over. Once I check it off and that it's correct, then you get your homework. All right. Make sure that on each time you're filling in your chart and you're also drawing a picture of your box plot. The picture doesn't have to be exact, but it should be labeled with numbers. If you don't do it, I'm going to tell you to redo it. Right. So do number 2 on your own. I'm going to even write down instructions. Do on your own.